So the very first step to kick off your app building journey is to grab a studio. Just hop onto your browser and search for it, then follow the installation instructions. Super easy, right? Once you're all set up with a studio, it's time to create a new project. Here, you'll pick the type of activity for your app. Don't forget to set a name and package name for your project. It's like giving your app its own identity. Now, let's talk about getting to know the Studio interface. This part is super important, especially for beginners. If you get familiar with the folders and code files, you'll navigate the app building process like a pro in no time. Understanding the main activity file is key because it's the cornerstone of user interactions, kind of like how JavaScript works in web apps. This file defines how elements, like buttons, behave when users click on them. Pretty cool, right? Speaking of cool, let's not forget about the resource folder. It's super important for your app's design since it's where all the layout and customization options for the user interface hang out. This helps you manage visual stuff like a boss. Now here's where it gets really fun. You can customize your app elements using a drag-and-drop interface. This makes designing your app a breeze, letting you easily add and tweak components like buttons without breaking a sweat. Next up, we're diving into some practical steps for accessing and tweaking code in Android Studio. This hands-on approach makes it way easier to grasp the coding workflow. Trust me, it's much better when you get to do it yourself. And hey, finding the right files in Android Studio to paste your generated code is crucial too. This little guide helps you level up your coding experience and makes everything flow smoother. Now, let's talk internet permissions. If your app needs to access online stuff, knowing these permissions is super important for your app to function properly. You don't want it to just crash, right? So, copying and pasting those permissions? Yeah, it's a big deal when it comes to setting up your app right. It makes sure your app has all the necessary access rights to do its thing. And don't forget about the app icon. Picking the right one can really amp up your app's visual appeal. Going with the PNG format is a smart move since it offers better quality and is compatible with a bunch of different devices. Finally, building the APK file is key for getting your app onto devices. This process involves a few steps, including diving into the developer options for installation. It might seem like a lot, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be deploying your app in no time.